Hello, Anthem fans, and welcome to Freelancer Radio, your home for all things Anthem. This is episode 23. How do we make it to 23? Holy crap. Cataclysm, maybe. And so let's check in with the rest of the guys. I got Ronaldo Machaco. The Quiet Man.
What's up, everybody?
And Where's Marlin?
Oh, fellow. Hey, guys, what's up?
I'm your host, KJ. I'm never going to get over this Buffalo thing. We've got an exciting show for you this week. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in free play, the event that pretty much has been confirmed that it is the part of the pre-Cataclysm timing and events leading up to the Cataclysm. We'll go over a little bit of some of the rewards. We have a special report from Ronaldo Machaco himself, San Diego Comic-Con, in which he was able to spend a great bit of time out there over the last several days. We'll get into some other news items and hopefully be able to give you all the scoop on what's going on in the gaming world. So let's kick it off, man. Anthem news this week. We got this event that's going on. It's kind of like a crystal event. And it's pretty much going on in free play. Mm-hmm. I jumped on a couple days ago and played on it for quite a while. Basically, there is you fly around free play now, but the electric orbs are back in the air. You got to watch out for those. We've got some stuff going on with the enemies in free play where they have kind of switched up some of their abilities. We've got crystal world events that are showing up, and those are leading to some new and fantastic vinyl rewards.
Gotcha. So to give a little bit of more feedback for our viewers out there, or listeners, I should say, could you elaborate a little bit more on the type of enemies that you're seeing now in the wilds?
Well, one of the things that is prevalent throughout all of free play now is the elemental creatures that typically would, come along with like a Titan mm-hmm. or some of the end bosses, like the Monitor or something like that, and a Stronghold. Those elemental creatures are now randomly out in free play all over the space. Some of the other things that I saw that was kind of neat is that the scorpions, which had always shot acid previously, there are now groups of scorpions that are shooting ice. And the other thing that I noticed was that the Wolven, which typically were always shooting ice, there's now like a Thunder Fang version of that, and they are shooting electricity, which is pretty and can be pretty intense if you get a good pack of those, because when they shoot these, it's kind of like the electric grenades that mm-hmm. some of the guys throw, and it creates like a spatial field of electricity. So if you get a group of them and they're all shooting them at you at the same time, and you don't get to them fast enough, then you can really be put in a bad position with all of those things coming at you at once and kind of get stuck.
So, question.
Yep.
So everything's changed, or is it like certain packs? Like I can still find the regular like scorpions if I fly south of.
I pretty much. I believe I still saw the regular scorpion groups.
Right.
There's just new groups that are in the free play spaces, and the regular Wolven groups as well. So it's like almost like I don't want to say it's a reskinned enemy. It is in a way, but it's a totally different elemental damage. You have to approach them totally different than you did before.
And they act differently as well too.
They act similarly, but the different element, because like the acid scorpions, right? When they hit you, all they really did was damage your shield when they hit
Right.
you and kind of burns you a little bit. Whereas the ice ones, you got a whole pack of those things throwing tons of ice at you, and you're frozen within seconds.
Right.
So you have to approach them totally different. And then, like I was saying with the Thunderfang versus the standard Wolven, like that can really, if you don't get to them quick enough and they're all firing these almost like electric grenade things at you that they spit, that can take up a good amount of space, and you can't get out of it fast enough. So you just approach the enemy totally different than you had before.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of me with my Ranger mace coming in and smashing these guys, because
you gotta be careful with them. Yeah.
you got to be a little bit more careful with them.
It's I feel like the game is doing great by adding variety to these enemies, because it allows the BioWare theme to work on changing up how freelancers interact with these enemies that have been playing for like the longest time, by changing how, because even just changing just a little bit, just like the elemental damage that they do, changes the way that you have to strategize when it comes to just bosses and enemies like that. People look at it as like, oh, it's just a reskin. You're just changing the elemental from regular, from acid to ice, or from normal to electric. But if you're used to fighting a specific boss or a specific monster in a specific way, that may not work correctly when you're dealing with electrical fields, or you're dealing with getting stuck by frozen ice. I'm liking this. I'm liking the fact that we're getting the pre-Cataclysm with all this. It shows that they're slowly getting there, so I'm happy for that.
Yeah,
Content-
this is one of the things that they promised in there when the game was launching, that they're going to change stuff. Like when the Cataclysm was
things will
coming,
evolve.
it was going to constantly evolve. So I'm glad that they're sticking to their word on that. I mean, it's showing that they are working on it for sure, definitely, which we've been saying for 23 episodes now. But yeah, so they're still working on it. I mean, and no one should be upset about that. Nobody should be upset like, oh, it's just a reskin. Like, no,
No.
that's what they said that was going to happen when something drastic was coming, or like pre-Cataclysm or whatever it is. So
I'm still seeing that the PTS seems to still be having updates and things like that. So I think they're still doing a lot of work in the background on things. And it really does seem that with the PTS that they are listening to the people that are making suggestions on there. I also made some suggestions myself this week, and we actually received a comment back from EA BioWare saying we're definitely going to look into this. I had mentioned, with some of the vinyls and some of the armors and things like that, that there's definitely some space there to give us a little bit of lore as to what is that, why is that vinyl called that? What is it about? Like, what does that mean? Because we have all these vinyls with these interesting names like the Spiked Horror or the Arcanist, what's this new one? The Arcanist Monument. But we don't know. I mean, we know what an Arcanist is. We know what a monument is. But why is this vinyl have these particular colors? Why is it called that? What makes it legendary over, one of these other ones, other than it covers more of the character. So I thought that, I made that mention. We got a like from Cameron Dayton on that, which was pretty cool in itself, that the lore master of the game kind of liked that comment. On top of that, then we got a response back from EA BioWare. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully we'll see some of those suggestions taken into the game, and we can kind of feel like we had a little bit of ownership in that. That'd be pretty cool.
A little bit of just rubbing the good stuff.
Yeah. So getting on with the event, I've noticed in Fort Tarsus, there's definitely, I don't want to spoil it for anybody as to what they are, but there is definitely new dialogue and new items to pick up around, Cortex items to pick up around Fort Tarsus. There are new dialogues with several different characters. I did post one of them to our Twitter account. And there is the event out in free play that's going on, which is basically an event that seems to wrap around crystals, which plays in a lot with what the guys and gals have been talking about in PTS, that they're doing things with crystals and then they're turning in crystals for the Cataclysm event store and receiving things for those. In the event that's going on out in free play, it's basically you're traveling around free play, but every once in a while, as opposed to one of the normal world events, a different world event will pop up that involves crystals. In these events, there are smaller crystals that are spread around. You're supposed to go destroy them. As you destroy them, they will create a larger crystal in some instances, and then you have to destroy those larger crystals. I've found that a couple shots with the Ranger Mace or a full-on ultimate will take them down fairly quickly on those larger ones. But if you use the Ranger Mace a couple times, be prepared to be frozen when you destroy the crystal, because it will freeze you and you'll have to work your way out of that before you can take on more enemies. So you're clearing these events, you're clearing the enemies in these events, and you are also clearing a specialized type of Dominion soldier, which seems to have like a crystal backpack. Upon clearing different levels of this, there's certain vinyls that are coming out on a daily basis. There's additional vinyls, I believe, on a weekly. And then there's like the one ultimate vinyl for the event, which is the Arcanist Monument. Somebody did mention, I think it was Anthem Assistant, mentioned earlier today, that if you clear the event more than one time, that you can continue to get additional coin and earn more coin throughout the day. So it also is, they're listening, I guess, a little bit to the fact that, there's not enough ways to earn coin in the game, and they're giving you multiple attempts to complete these on a daily basis to be able to earn more coin. So
power to the people and
that's
the
right.
complainers.
Something like that.
Little bit of money's for your pocket, So that's
So-
I need all that coin so I can drag my javelin down to the floor.
you want to be able to finally buy some stuff in the store is what it is.
Right. That's right. I was still waiting for that one vinyl to come out that was so special to me, but it turns out I can finally earn some vinyls for my javelin.
Yeah. I will tell you that the uncommon ones that I was earning on the Arcanist Monument, which is like the epic vinyl or whatever legendary, the purple version. That one is like super cool. I really like it. Looks really good on my Ranger. The other vinyls that I earned were both like at a green, like common level. Nothing amazing. Basically took a small item and put it on either my shoulder or my chest or both. Wasn't super exciting. Like I had like a little skull, kind of like the center of my chest on one of them, and then it put it on both of the shoulder pads of the character. It's all right. I mean, maybe I didn't test it out on any of the other javelins. That maybe there's a really cool cloak for the storm or something like that. That's always possible. I've noticed that a lot of these vinyls look pretty badass on the storm. But it's almost like they're built for they build them first on the storm, and then they're like,
right.
Hey, what are we going to do on the rest of these javelins?
I guess we can let the Ranger and the other ones have it.
Yeah.
I know.
Which, I wouldn't be, I would not be opposed to having vinyls that were specific for certain javelins, as long as they were like over and above, like they were.
I wouldn't want, because everybody has all the javelins. It's not like it's not like you only have one of each. So, but at the same time, if that storm looks so cool with that vinyl that's only exclusive to the storm,
makes sense.
Yeah, I think that would be, something that would be cool for the future. So, I mean, apparently this event that's going on right now is part of this 2-week build up to the Cataclysm. So we're going to see how it plays out, and if that is 100% true. It seems to be, but they've been fairly cryptic about coming out and saying that yes, this is the 2 weeks pre-Cataclysm. I mean, they've said, people have asked, is this in the build up to the Cataclysm? And they've said yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's part of that 2-week pre-event. So I'm a little
Confused.
uncertain, and
Gotcha.
maybe somebody can ultra clarify for us on Twitter or something like that. That would be wonderful. But I just haven't seen anything that just really has come out and been like, yeah, here it is. This is what it is. And they really haven't been, if I go to even, Jesse and Drew on Twitter, it's not like we're getting like a ton of information on this thing. Drew's last tweet here. He's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what this feels like? This feels like where there's someone's like, drum roll, please.
Yeah, it's literally nothing. The last thing he talked about that had anything to do with, I mean, he's like, hey, I really like this guy's javelin or whatever else. But like, really, the last thing that he really got into that involved Anthem was the Dark Horse Comics booth at San Diego Comic-Con, that there was going to be people there signing autographs for Anthem. And then so far as Jesse, drum roll please, he gave us a PTS update on the 17th. So
Gotcha.
there you go.
Question, KJ, this is the one thing that I want to ask you. What are the requirements for you to be able to sign up for the PTS?
The requirements for the PTS, I believe, is just having the Anthem through a CPU.
Okay.
But you also
I don't
needed
think
to
you even have to have
complete
the EA all access thing. I think it's just if you're playing it on some other platform through that as well, you can sign up for the PTS.
The reason why I asked that is because knowing my history with PTS and that type of system when it comes to just testing out kinks in a game, more often than not, when a company tends to do that, they tend to do that for the long haul. So if you are an Anthem player that you want to test out new things that they may come out with a game, or they may not even come across to the console, then I would suggest getting Anthem for PC if you want to probably have, like an early look into some early builds for the next update. Because from what I'm hearing, from what I'm listening to some people up in the industry, I don't think they'll be able to bring the PTS to consoles anytime soon, or at least not in the foreseeable future.
No, they've said they're trying, but they don't.
Yeah,
It's not anytime soon.
The way that Sony is right now, I don't see that happening. So I would suggest, if you are an Anthem fanatic and want to play this game and you're being stuck on the consoles for like us 3-4 months by this point, I would suggest just getting into the PC and trying it out.
I thought I remember we mentioned like prior couple episodes ago that, not even couple, like 20 some episodes. No, I'm just kidding. But episodes ago that I think in order to be part of the PTS, you were supposed to have beaten the game before the PTS dropped, or like the initial phase for the PTS, at least for the first week. Like you can't go out and just buy the game and be like, okay, I want to be part of the PTS. I think it's too late for players, isn't it? At least that was my understanding.
No, I don't think it's too late. I think that you may have to complete the story before you're able to participate in it.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it probably is.
Oh, okay. I thought you had to complete the story before the initial launch of the PTS.
No, I think that was
initially.
I think that was initially, but no, it seems that anybody that jumps on can be a part of it. It's just you have to apply, I think, for it, and then you're entered into the PTS or something like that.
All right, so here, I'll give you some answers. So this is from... in order for you to have the Anthem PTS, you need to have a PC and the game. The special server is only accessible on PC platforms via the Origin client. If you own any of Anthem's editions or have an active Origin Access Premier subscription, navigate to your games library and you will have the new game waiting for you there. That's how you're going to be able to get into the PTS, but this is only on PC. So there's that. You don't need to have beaten the campaign. That was like for the original stuff, you needed to have beaten the campaign. But nowadays, you can just go in there, play it, and it's just going to be like a separate server. That nothing that you acquire there will.
Yeah, it's never going to carry over
it's
to
not
your
going to carry over to
character.
the new game, because it's literally just like a different client from your original game base.
I'm hoping that they give those people something, though.
They probably will.
Like even if it's just a free vinyl,
a little skull vinyl on their right arm.
But I really think they should do up something nice for them, because I mean, that is. I know that it's a new experience and it's extra stuff, but they really are actually performing some type of work,
service,
and a service to the game. So I really hope that BioWare does do the right thing and gives them some kind of thank you. I wish that we could all be a part of it.
Not that I'm trying to compare Anthem to Destiny.
No, don't do that. We saw an article that said don't do that.
Don't do that. It's wrong.
Destiny does do that, though. Like, I remember for like the beta and stuff, like, or whatever, you get the special ghost or the special emblem for your character. So that would be nice for Anthem players. But
and even when we carried over from Destiny to Destiny 2, we got all of those emblems and things like that were like, for all of the things that you did before, which would tie in well with BioWare, because if you think about it, like BioWare has has kind of a pattern of doing that with Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Certain decisions that you made in the original game carry over to future content. It could be the same with future.
Cool if they could read like your old files, like they knew you were a Dragon Age Inquisition player, or like a Mass Effect, and then you get an emblem and Anthem via that, and like you have like this cool,
there's Dragon they're able to track that. That's how they're able to track over your progress from game to game to continue the stories.
Yeah, see, that's how they did it.
If they offered you some kind of reward, some kind of special thing for playing those previous games, I think that would be awesome.
Or similar to like what they do in the Division, where if you participated in Ghost Recon or something like that, then you got some sort of arm patch
that's part of that Ubisoft club or something.
Yeah. So I mean, EA has their own version of that with the EA Origin Access, and if they did something like that, where other games that were, it's a little bit more relevant, had certain things that would carry over if they were in your library at some time. That would be pretty cool. But so I mean, that's the event so far. Like I said, I didn't want to get too much into it because I really don't want to spoil it. I want people to get out there, feel it out for themselves. It was fun. There are different new objectives every day. If you complete the objective, you can complete it multiple times to gain more coin, which is huge. We're always looking for more opportunities to earn coin, so glad they're listening to that. So hopefully this truly is the pre-Cataclysm kind of warm-up coming up here.
Do you think, just top of my head, just out of thought, I am not a Fortnite player. I'm just, it is scary. I'm not a Fortnite player, but I do remember though, like 2 or 3 times I played Fortnite, like 7 months ago. The map was one way, and then I think I logged in when I was at Comic-Con last week, just once because P1K wanted to play a little bit. The map was completely different. It was not the same map I played 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do. I don't think they're going to do full world building, like a revamp of the whole space. But I think that the Cataclysm, they're going to have to do. They've built this space that the Cataclysm happens in, right?
Where you roam around in.
that you roam around and go through. So my thoughts, what makes sense to me, and honestly, this 100% speculation, okay, but what makes sense to me is if the event ends in so many weeks, right? That's a lot of space to build for nothing to be used from afterwards.
Until the next cataclysm.
Yeah. And so there's, but you're never going to have a cataclysm always happen in the same space. Why would that wouldn't make sense so far as the way that the world is going, right? So I think that this is, in a way, the ability to expand the map.
Right. Yeah. Which makes sense.
You shut down the cataclysm. The space is now clean, quote unquote, and you can go into there. And now this is a new area to explore that has new things and new adventures and whatever else, maybe a couple more strongholds and things that are involved in it. And the cataclysm has done things that have altered, the space. So maybe, that's a way for them to just continue to build on the game itself. Is every once in a while we get a new cataclysm. The new cataclysm adds new territory. The new territory adds new things to it. So it's similar to the way things worked in other games that we've been involved in with, new DLCs opened up new areas. So I think that that would work. So that's pretty much the event. Next thing I definitely wanted to get into, man, Justin, you got to give us some lowdown on San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know, man. Floor's yours. Tell us what about your exciting week here.
Exciting week, and a little upsetting.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, so last year was my first Comic-Con, and our good friends from P1K, Julio, Xavier, Dante, and of course, everybody else who went, which were Julio's parents and Xavier's parents, which they're brothers, and their nephew, Julio's wife, and Dante's younger brother. So we were all together. Great time, fantastic time. Last year when we went, they were showing me the ropes that you're trying to look for those Comic-Con exclusive items. So this year I was a little more prepared, put some more money in my piggy bank, getting ready to buy those Comic-Con exclusives. Ergo, like Funko Pops, the Tamashii Nations with like the Dragon Ball Z characters, those figures, Square Enix figures, and all that stuff. So put some money in my pocket. Went over to Comic-Con. Turns out half of those items that we wanted, you needed to make reservations for online prior to weeks. So,
oof.
Wow.
That's first time I've ever seen something like this ever happen. I mean, last year it was just like, hopefully you can get in line. If you couldn't get in line because the line got capped off, come back later and try again later. This year was all about
pre-orders,
like online reservation. Like
exactly,
you had to make a commitment. Like, oh, I'll be there Friday at 10 a.m. But it was more of like a lottery system. So like you would choose Friday at 10 a.m. Okay, did you get it? Did you win the lotto? No, sorry, you don't. Try again and try something.
10,000 people show up and 1,000 get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
wow.
Remember, these are exclusive items. You cannot make a ton of those. You can't have 10,000 of the same item for Comic-Con. It's the supply and demand just don't allow for it. That's why
you got your hands on some because I know because they're headed my way.
Yes,
I paid you for some.
Yes, so. You did. You paid me for some. So one item I'll show you guys right now via Skype. Sorry, viewers, but it's a Funko Pop of Bullseye, the Target dog.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There's a little Comic-Con.
It looks cool, man. I like it.
A sticker right there. So there's one of my things right there.
All right,
Funimation. Funimation didn't have a Comic-Con exclusive item, but they had a Funimation celebrating 25 years. So there's a Funko Pop of Chrome Vegeta. My most prized possession was from last year's Funimation. Is the Metallic Whis Comic Con exclusive.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
So
remember you saying that. Yeah, you
Look,
looked up.
ready.
actually, since we're on the topic of anime and stuff like that, I want to make a shout out to Kyoto Animation Studios. I am so sorry for what happened up there in Japan with the studio with that crazy maniac. So
Yeah, that is a shame.
I really hope that they're able to recover and that they're able to put out, because when it comes to anime, the Kyoto Anime Studio is probably one of the better ones out in the industry, and one of the few ones where they actually treat their artists and their animators like decent human beings, and I really, really, my heart goes out to them. So if Dalton is hearing this, listen, I don't hate Japan like you think I do, okay?
All right,
So,
so what else did you get your hands on, bro?
so I remember I was talking to KJ. I was like, "Yes, I'm going to try the Lego line." Of course, the Lego line was another reservation line. Hasbro Mattel was another reservation line, and then there's this huge panel of Star Wars. It was huge. Yeah, I wish I'd taken some pictures of it. I know the other boys did. So humongous panel. So they had like all the stormtroopers you could possibly ever think of, of costume, just standing on the panel, and they were re-showing, that new Jedi, the Fallen Order game.
Yep.
No
The
trailers of
EA.
the new Star Wars. Yeah,
Yep.
no trailers of the new Star Wars that I saw, but the main focus, the main theme of the Stormtrooper for Star Wars is this new Stormtrooper that's coming to the movie. This new movie
Rise
now.
of Skywalker, the Sith
Yeah,
Trooper.
the Sith Trooper. It's this all red Stormtrooper, and he was like the commotion of like the whole Comic Con. So like everybody was just there's a Funko Pop of him, Comic Con exclusive, and right now you buy him for like $30 over there, but then resale value right now is $250 on offer up
Holy
in
moly.
eBay and stuff. So people are eating it up.
Yeah, the neat
And
thing about that new Sith Trooper is that, like, if you look at it from head on,
mhm,
the helmet, and they did this on purpose. If you look at it from head on, it looks like the old Trooper helmets from like Episode 1. But
right,
if you look at it from the side, it looks like the First Order helmet.
yeah,
So it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool how they kind of played with that and kind of almost tried to make it like a little bit cyclical.
yeah,
But very,
yeah,
very interesting looking trooper. I don't know how well bright red goes when, trying to hide from people, but I guess bright white doesn't do that well either.
exactly. Or
When
that
you're-
or that chrome one that's so obsessed with FN1127. I think
yeah.
it's FN1127. But yeah, so he was the talk of the town. So every year, which has only been 2 years, Dante and I make a commitment to ourselves on one of the days. We're gonna wake up like at 5:30 in the morning, shower, shave, get ready, get to the line of Comic Con super early, and we were towards the front of the line, and but it was still like thousands of people. We're all bunched up. We're like cattle getting ready to be slaughtered, like bunched up. So we got there super early, and I was able to. That was the day I was able to get that Comic Con cover exclusive for Star Wars Thrawn, the Treason title, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So I had to get there, get a wristband, come back at 11, pick up the book, and then when I picked up the book, the guy was like, "Oh, are you gonna go get it signed?" And I'm like, "Go get it signed? Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, the author, Timothy Zahn. He's gonna be here at 2 o'clock." And I was like, "Timothy Zahn at 2 o'clock? Whew, I gotta go." So I headed upstairs, found the panel where he was gonna be at, and got the book signed.
Hey,
That's
I'm
pretty
happy for
cool,
you,
man.
man. I'm happy for you. That's
And you got me a Goku Black for my son. So
Yes.
that's awesome. That's going to be his birthday present. Happy birthday, Ethan. It
Yes.
would be his birthday when this show is aired. So very excited about getting that in the mail so that I can get that to him. He's going to be flipping out. Super Dragon Ball Z fan.
Yes.
So that's awesome. I am super appreciative of you going out there and doing that as well. So some of these different things that you saw out there, I mean, obviously Star Wars was a big thing, but another one of the ones that was really big out there was the Marvel stuff.
Yes, the Marvel panel.
So how did that go, man? I mean, some of the news coming out of this thing, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I like a lot of the different as TV shows for Disney Plus and other things that are coming out, movies that are coming out in Phase 4. Some of the things that are slated for the future. But how did that whole panel go? What was your experience out there?
So I didn't get to actually attend the panel because it's just overloaded with people. Like there was no way. So, but we were outside and people were going crazy. Everyone's keeping their chats up. So I'm not too familiar with the Eternals, but I saw a video on the Eternals just giving them a brief background on them and what their biological being is. They're pretty much like a step above humans, but they're not gods. They're just godlike creatures. I saw the cast for the Eternals. I'm not so sure I'm too happy about one of them. Not that I'm not a fan of hers. I love Tomb Raider. I love Angelina Jolie. But her being in the Eternals, I feel as though, just as a personal thing, I think she's just like, I want a piece of the Marvel action. I want a piece of that, superhero Marvel,
I kind of feel like everybody's jumping on that bandwagon, though. I mean, they're talking about when is Keanu Reeves going to come into the MCU, and they've talked with him a couple times about different projects, and we're going to see where he falls in. But I mean, there's
I'm hearing things like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are like they're like best friends off set, and Ryan Reynolds is constantly bugging
he's always
him,
badgering Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, he's just oh man, you have to play Wolverine. We have to do a movie together and all this stuff. Another one
together.
Well, yeah.
wants to do another one, but not one where Ryan Reynolds is like the formo version of Deadpool.
Yeah. A real version. So, and then another one that was big, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, fall 2020. Everyone was going nuts about that.
I'll tell you what I'm excited for. What I'm excited for is WandaVision.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be a small series on Disney Plus, and the series is going to play into the upcoming Doctor Strange movie, and Wanda Scarlet Witch is going to be in the Doctor Strange movie with Doctor Strange,
which is going to be a horror film.
Yeah, and they said it's going to be the closest thing to a horror film that the MCU is going to do. Exactly. And what I'm excited to see, though, is they said that they're really going to get back to kind of the roots of Scarlet Witch, and it's going to be more of the magical version from the comic books versus what she's been in the MCU. So they're going to go a little bit a different direction with her, which I'm excited to see, because I think that'll be pretty wild. I've always liked that character to begin with, and we haven't seen like an inkling of her powers yet. So, I mean,
I'm looking at this Instagram post. Sorry, Marlon. And is this Missandei from Game of Thrones and Eternals?
I thought there was somebody from Game of Thrones in there.
Oh, okay. That's
there's a lot of
for me,
definitely people that you would recognize in the Eternals group. I don't know how that's going to play, though. The Eternals have always, I mean, they're definitely influential characters in the MCU so far as their influence itself, but I can't see like a huge fan base jumping for an Eternals movie, because the Eternals have always kind of been like almost they've been like a background character, like, so I don't know. I haven't really been super disappointed with any of the MCU movies yet, with the exception of Captain Marvel. But
See, like, okay, so
I mean, we'll see what happens with it.
so
I
I'm
got a
making a
question.
prediction. I'll make a. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm making a prediction real quick. So it says here, Jeffrey Wright is playing a Watcher.
Yeah,
That automatically assumes or leads me to think that the next supervillain for the next Avengers or get together of the superheroes is going to be someone like Galactus.
Yeah.
yeah.
Eh,
I mean, I would. They seem to be going more
towards the
space oriented.
cosmical, yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me, especially since like Phase 5. Some of the surprises for Phase 5 is they were talking about bringing the Fantastic Four. They have mentioned the word mutants, which they weren't able to do before.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you know that there's going to be something involving X-Men. They definitely showed off a little bit more of the horror genre side of Marvel with saying that they were going to bring back Blade.
Yeah, so there was a lot of backlash
The
at
Blade's
Comic
not supposed
Con.
to take place though. I think in that universe, it's like a standalone.
Hmm.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think it's a part of the universe.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
see that. I don't know.
yeah, I didn't see
Check
that
that
either.
out.
Anyway, I was going to
Fine, man.
ask you guys. So how do you guys feel about, I guess the Disney subscription thing that some of these Marvel, I guess superheroes getting their shows that that like are main parts of the overall story. Like you have to watch some of these shows now to keep up with the whole story of
Yeah, the
the Marvel,
MCU.
the MCU. How do you guys, I guess, feel about that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is with what Disney Plus is off. I'm not a huge Disney as a corporation fan, but I will say that with what they're offering, the subscription for, I think it's only like $6 or something like that.
It
Um,
was $6.99 a month or $69.99 for the year.
yeah, so I think like if I can pay $70 a year for that, and I get I'm really looking forward to the Mandalorian, the Star Wars series, and they've
Mm.
already set up a season 2 of that.
Oh wow.
I'm definitely looking forward to WandaVision. I'm not as excited about Winter Soldier and Falcon as I thought I would be. And I think that's more because I'm more excited about WandaVision, and I'm not so excited about the Hawkeye TV show either.
There's also Loki.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had just left Loki alone. You know, I understand what they're doing with it. It's the Loki that escaped with the Tesseract when they went back in time. So it's kind of like
For the
it's like a
Endgame.
multiverse version
Right.
of Loki. But I don't know. We'll see how I mean, honestly, see how it plays out. It might be great. I mean, I like the fact that they're carrying over all of these same actors to
Yeah.
play these parts. I think that's awesome. I think
Yeah.
that's worth the subscription, honestly, in itself, because it's not like you're getting. Because it's one of the things that I always had a problem with all the CW adventures on with DC is you have a different actor playing the Flash on TV than is playing in the movie, and there's no crossover, and there's nothing that kind of ties any of that stuff together. And it's like,
Yeah.
how many different versions of the Flash do we need to have at the same time? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So
Right.
I don't know. There's pluses and minuses to it, like anything, but I think $70 a year for
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad.
I don't think that that's bad, especially since if you think about it, Netflix is kind of going their own direction. Disney's pulling out all their stuff off of Netflix, so you're not going to be able to access it that way anymore. So
Yeah,
if
I
you
think all
want
the
to be able
Avengers
to,
films and stuff are
you
going
know,
to be on Disney
that's good.
Plus.
It's the Disney Plus is also, going to give you the back catalog of all the Disney movies and TV shows and things like that that have come up. And that's going to be your ability to access those. So,
Oh yeah, that's right. Black Widow as well was announced.
Yeah, and that one looks pretty cool. The villain's Taskmaster, but it has several of the other Black Widow characters in it that are all the different versions of Black Widow that were a part of that project that she was part of. And she dukes it out with some of them, and we get to find out what happened in Budapest.
Right, exactly. We get to find out what was so special that she keeps mentioning in all these movies about Budapest.
Yeah. So this is part of this is the story of Budapest, and then the guy that plays Jim Hawking in Stranger Things. I may be saying that character's name wrong. I don't remember, but the guy plays the sheriff in Stranger Things. He's playing. I don't remember the name of the guy, but he's basically the Captain America of Russia.
Right.
He's Russia's super soldier version. So I never really got into that, any of those characters or anything like that. Honestly, wasn't a huge Black Widow fan until Scarlett Johansson played her in the MCU and freaking bought and sold, bro. I'm all over it. She's pretty awesome as a character.
The biggest one that broke the news the most was, of course, Natalie Portman playing Thor.
Lady Thor, which could be fantastic, could be horrible. Here's the way I see it. If they play the angle where she has cancer, she's dying, and the only way that she's kind of comes back to life and has strength and whatever else is to become Lady Thor, then I'm all for it. But if they totally play that part of the storyline off and it becomes another Captain Marvel movie, then, what I feel like they're doing is because there's so many people pissed off about Captain Marvel and they're just passing the buck from Captain Marvel to Lady Thor.
Well, is it Lady Thor? Is that what? Because I think there was like a thing where they said that whoever wields the power of Thor is known as Thor. So because Thor is still there, the Chris Hemsworth Thor is still there, and I believe here in another catalog that what's his face for the director for Guardians 3 that Thor: Love and Thunder is taking place pre Guardians 3.
Yeah, makes sense.
I haven't seen enough of it, but I'll tell you, I like the graphic for it. It kind of brings me back to that like 1970s heavy metal type look. It's the same guy that did Ragnarok, if I remember correctly, which will be really good because Ragnarok was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. I just hope that they keep the right angle with it. Here's the thing is Marvel did this whole thing in like 2017 where they really went like full on social justice warrior or whatever and started changing things up and mixing things up. Sales tanked for them and comic book sales in general have really gone way down. Same thing has happened with a lot of the storylines that DC has done. And God, I think that DC was like less than 20% of the market in the last couple months. So because they keep going on these angles and you guys got to Marvel, DC, they got to play to their base. Okay. And their base is not this type of people. Now, maybe you can get away with some of this stuff in some of the movies. But that's not who's coming out in droves and droves and droves and droves and goes back to that movie 5, 6, 7 times. I'm the guy that went and saw Endgame 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta.
It makes sense.
You're gonna lose your hardcore fans at the expense of your.
I want to say not hardcore.
Casuals.
There's some hardcores and then there's long-term hardcores, the ones that grew up with the originals.
Well, I mean, this was the same problem with Destiny 2, right?
Yeah.
You went ahead and you tried to cater to a whole bunch of casual players.
Right.
all of
You
the
lost
hardcore
it.
players were like, "What the hell is this? This isn't the game that I have been playing for the last several years." You
Right.
know, and they had to like literally they've done a whole 180
That's a
on the way the game plays, even with the new armor updates and everything else that they have coming. I mean, that's all catering to hardcore players.
Exactly.
You know,
Because this is what happens when you cater to the casuals, and I'm not trying to be like in a degradatory manner or something like that. I'm trying to say, like, if you cater to the casual viewer, to the casual player, they will play it, look at it, enjoy it, and then move on and never go back. And then they'll just go to the next thing that just appeals to them. The long term fan, the one that sticks around through the lows and to the highs, will stick around and enjoy it if you cater to them, and you'll have a very consistent fan base. If you drove away that type of fan base that buys your merchandise, that buys your movie tickets for every time you release something new, and you say, listen, we don't care to you guys anymore, they'll go away. And then you realize that you got a very fickle fan base that will drop at you at the drop of a hat when they don't like, or when they feel they have been systematically ruined by whatever you do. Um, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be like, cynic or something like that. But let me tell you, this goes back into what happened to me with Lion King right now. So, in the fact that Disney tried to make the Lion King the most graphically, you know, technical movie that has come out when it comes to CGI, they lost the heart and soul that made the original Lion King the way it is. This movie, while awesome in the way that CGI looks and how realistic the animals look in screen, it it fails to live up to the Lion King's original 1994 release.
yeah,
And for me, somebody who grew up with that, somebody who watched that movie maybe like 100 times, I'm gonna watch that one time and that's it.
yeah.
And that's gonna happen with the DCU universe. It's gonna happen with any type of studio that decides to cater to whatever is hip out there, as opposed to making a classic that lasts.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you know you got to play. I understand that they're attempting to play to masses, but at the same time, like that's not what makes your that playing to masses isn't what made Star Wars originally Episode 4. Like that's not what made A New Hope what it is today. There was a dream, and there was something that was exciting about it, and people latched onto that, and in a way that, I mean, it's carried us through generations and generations now. I mean, think about that. I mean, original Star Wars, 1977, people still to this day go back to watch that film on a regular basis. And
Yes.
heaven knows, every time it's on the TV, man, and I see it, I pop that sucker on because it's just fun to watch. And it's such a good movie. And that's what people gravitate to. And if you start taking those people that gravitated towards that and really just filled that fan base for so many years, and you put them on the back burner to cater to a bunch of people that really don't care so much about that movie as much as all of these other people that have lived and breathed it for a good portion of their life, then you're never going to get that traction. I mean, dude, I brainwashed my children with Star Wars stories when they were in their high chair. I mean, like,
You monster.
I am a monster, dude. They all had these. I had these little Star Wars toys that were made for toddlers, and every single one of them played with them. So from the time they were in their high chairs, and I would play with like little Millennium Falcons, and everything was just their size and made for them, and they absolutely loved them. But my kids are all Star Wars fans or Marvel fans. I mean, my one daughter is a bigger Marvel fan than I am. So, and
Did you see Did you see that Star Wars? Like they added like a scene in the original A New Hope where
where
it's
they redid the
Vader
Obi-Wan
Kenobi
Kenobi
fight.
Vader fight. Oh my gosh, yes, that was so well done.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I was telling my mother about this. My mother of all people, I was like, "Mom, like, could you imagine the type of reaction people would have had in the theater back in '77, and when if they saw that fight scene, like everybody would have been a Star Wars fan for a fact, for
Yep.
a fact. People would have went to the theater for just that.
And it wouldn't. I would not be opposed to Disney doing some work because Star Wars has had several different renditions over time where they've updated and tweaked and whatever else, Jabba the Hutt scenes, added in scenes that were originally deleted and fixed
Right.
them and whatever else. So I don't think it would necessarily be bad to redo maybe some of those lightsaber battles, things like that, as long as they did them in a way that was, good and worked with it in the tradition of the film. Like that,
Yeah.
whoever put that scene together, like did it in a way that it did not impose itself upon the film. It just added to it. And it was
Right. Right.
something that was, all in the
Give it a little
style of
spice.
the original. Yeah, it was all done in the style of the original film. It used the original characters. Nobody changed the way the character was or anything
Right.
else. Obi-Wan Kenobi was still, super humble dude taking on the big
Wise
bad
old
villain
man.
of Darth Vader,
Yep.
but it was just a amped up version of the scene, and it was fantastic. And you wouldn't have to do the whole movie like that. You could throw in little bits and pieces here and there, and
Well, I
tweak
think
it.
they projected their voice in there where he's like, "Your powers are weak, old man," and then like
Yeah, they
during that
used
fight.
yeah. I
So
mean, they used lines from other parts of the movie and whatever. I mean, that was just fantastic, though.
yeah,
That was well put together, and bravo to the guys that put that together, because I know they ain't making a dime on it, because I'm sure Star Wars claimed it immediately,
yeah.
and Disney claimed
If
it
you haven't
immediately.
seen it, go check it out on YouTube. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic scene. It's like about 5 minutes long, a 5 minute fight scene. Another notification that I got while I was out there in Comic-Con, I just sent it to you guys on the Discord. It was a picture of Titans from DC.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like in the back center, of course, is Robin. And on the left side, if you see his belt, is like the Aquaman symbol. So I'm pretty sure that's
Aqualad.
Aqualad.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the other characters are. Maybe from what I know from Teen Titans, the TV show, Raven and Starfire. I don't know. And then I
Yeah.
don't know who that other is.
No,
So
I know Raven's in the show, but she's supposed to be a lot younger than this. They've also got, I'm not sure who some of these other characters are.
Drum roll, please.
Look them up. Yeah, I'd have to look them up, and I'm not going to take the time to do it, to be honest with you.
yeah, so
But
just stuff out there.
But that's
So, yeah.
that's pretty cool. I did one of the things I am excited about is the new Watchmen series.
Yes,
That's a DC property. I'm excited about that coming to HBO. We've kind of gotten some idea as to who some of the characters are, and they're not really playing off of the Watchmen movie that came out years ago. They're more playing off the comic books, but
I was going to
it's
show
like
you guys.
it's
I have
like
my room key. My room key was Watchmen themed. It said like Watchmen, and then it had like a code, like a QR code you could scan. So I don't know.
Cool.
I can't find it.
But I'm looking forward to that for sure. That looks really interesting coming to HBO here fairly soon. So there's definitely some good stuff on the horizon between all these different properties and what they're doing. I mean, obviously we got a new Star Wars this year as well. I will save my judgment on that until I've seen the film, and I am not as excited to see the film as I have been for every other Star Wars film. With the exception of Solo, I'm just as excited to see this as I was to see Solo. And,
Nice.
I didn't see Solo in the theater, so I will go and see this one in the theater though, just because it's a traditional Star Wars movie. But
Last thing I probably want to mention. Well, it's part of our outline here, but Witcher was another talk.
yeah.
Was another talk of the town. It very mixed emotions out there at Comic-Con. They were like, A lot of people, I'm telling you, it was a 50-50. I would ask one person, "Oh man, it looks so good," and you talk to somebody else like, it looks like trash.
Well, I
Yeah.
think a lot of the things that they've gotten away with or gotten away from in Witcher, there was some photos that were posted early on it that showed some just very odd looking costumes and things like that. But this new trailer showed soldiers in a different costume that was a lot better. So I don't know whether there was CGI animation that was added to it or what happened, but things are definitely a lot better
Yeah.
than they originally were showing. I think Henry Cavill looks awesome.
Yeah, I thought they portrayed his character. I mean, like when I saw the trailer release, um, I saw very little of him in the trailer. I saw a lot of other characters, reoccurring characters, more during the
Yeah,
trailer
and this
release.
is more of the books and not the
The
video
game.
game. So, but he does have the two swords. He just in the books he actually has the silver sword attached to it's always mounted on the horse, and there's a couple shots in the trailer that show the horse, and if you look close enough, you can see the sword mounted on the horse. So he
Mhm.
does have the two swords. He just carries only one of them on his back, which
Right.
is not like the video game. He always carried two of them on his back in the video game.
I've
So
never played any Witcher game. I've only seen Witcher 3, the cover art. Sorry, Andrew. Andrew, if nobody knows, Andrew's glaring at me, just shaking his head like, what kind of gamer
Andrew,
are
tell us
you?
a little bit about Witcher
Oh
3.
my god.
The game?
Yeah.
I mean,
How was it? Because I never played it.
phenomenal.
I heard it's awesome, but I've never played it.
Oh yeah, man. This if you like considering that you like the Mass Effect games and like Dragon Age, like those kind of like big story driven
Yeah.
games, then you'll love Witcher.
And
Is it open world?
This is
It's
Yeah.
CD
very open
Projekt
world.
Red.
It's huge.
Yeah.
You get
It's-
lost in it?
Oh yeah.
Dude, the side quests, man, are more detailed than most story quests in a lot of other games I've played.
Let me put
Like
it
you
this
have
way.
to be very tactical to even hunt some of your bounty monsters and whatnot, man. Like it's just for example, like early on in the game, there's a quest to go hunt a werewolf, and like it has like
That's
his
a side
wife.
quest?
Yeah, it's a side quest.
Oh.
But like, I don't want to like spoil it, but like his
Please,
there's a
spoil
love
it. I
affair
want to hear
going
you talk.
on type thing, and betrayal and all this other stuff, man. It's just like it's one little side story, and I'm like, man,
You
this is,
telling me that this guy went to go hunt this werewolf and then he find out like his wife was cheating on him? Is that the kind of side quest you're telling me?
yeah, kind of like that type of stuff.
Well,
But
I mean, that's done by CD Projekt Red, which is the same guys that are bringing out Cyberpunk 2077. So, I mean, that kind of gives me some excitement for Cyberpunk because I've already got that sucker on pre-order. So,
Dang. Oh
you
well.
guys got
Yeah.
time to check out
Here,
Witcher.
let me put you this
Please
way,
do.
Justin. Do you play Skyrim?
No.
Justin
You're
don't
dead to
play
me.
games
You're
like
dead.
that.
You are
man. It's
dead
got
to me right now.
stories.
So, anyone here play Skyrim?
Of course.
Andrew did.
I know you did, Andrew. I'm talking about somebody like KJ or
No, I did not. I did not get to play Skyrim.
See, I'm thinking more like Assassin's Creed, the original Assassin's Creed, the first one, the second one with Ezio, maybe Assassin's Creed with the other Ezio trilogies. That's what I'm thinking. Like
This
Witcher.
would be. This has got to be more detailed than that.
Oh,
though,
yeah, it's
from
far
what
more
they're
detailed.
saying. There's got to be a lot more quests and things.
What
So,
is it? Like a RPG, like a MMO kind of style going on? Like I don't
Okay.
understand this.
Do you played Assassin's Creed
MMO's
Origins?
massive multiplayer online, man. That's a single player game. This
I
is
mean,
open world RPG. It's
open world RPG.
I guess you could kind of compare it to like Assassin's Creed, I guess the original, but think of it bigger, like more detailed
Origins.
quests.
Right, I
A
played
lot more side
Origins.
quests.
Okay. The Witcher 3 map is bigger than the Origins map.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
and that has several DLCs and stuff to it as well. Witcher
Yes.
3 does.
Yes.
So.
And it does a good
Talking
job of
about the-
mixing like fantasy and realistic stuff, like just politics and all kinds of stuff in the game too. So it's not,
Might have to grab this up.
yeah, it's It's really good. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Justin, did you play
It's a must
GTA
play.
5?
I did.
Okay. The Witcher 3 map is 1.5 times larger than the Grand Theft Auto 5 map. Okay. It is filled with up to the brim with things to do. To the point where you get annoyed by how much stuff you have to do in that game.
Dude, the reason I haven't finished the game is just because of how overwhelmed I get. Literally. That's
Wait, you
how
haven't
much.
finished the game?
No.
This is the first game Andrew's never finished, I think.
That's how
Oh,
big
no,
it is, man.
there's a lot of games I haven't finished, but I'm saying this one in particular is just like I never have enough time to like, especially like playing Destiny and like other games like that constantly. Like I've never been able to put the time in I needed to finish Witcher.
Very cool. Well, I'm sold. I'll go grab it up. That's for sure. That's cool.
I will not grab it up. I'll just watch the Netflix series.
You'll watch the Netflix version of it.
It's coming out on Switch, isn't it? Pick it up on that. Play it at work, at lunch.
Hey.
Yeah.
Justin.
Yeah, play it at work.
If you're gonna-
Justin cutting things with the CNC machine and then switching over and playing Witcher.
Yeah, right.
I can see that happening.
I can
Here's the
totally
thing.
see that happen.
Here's the thing. It takes about 100 to 150 hours minimum to platinum Witcher 3.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I'm not looking to platinum. I'm
No,
looking
I'm not
just to play
platinuming
the damn
anything
game.
ever. That you guys can platinum all you want.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the things we're obsessed with for the week. First, I'm going to hit up Marlon. Marlon, what do you got for the week, my friend?
I hate Joe. Joe, if you're
Yeah,
listening
we
to
know
this
you hate
podcast, I hate your butt. I hate your guts. And if this is just me, but please tell RNGesus to bestow you with every lottery ticket in the world and get me some of that winning, because I swear to God, you and your luck is driving me up the wall. So
Marlon's very upset at one of our friends because he literally said last night as we were playing a game, he said, I really want to get this weapon with this roll.
weapon, yeah.
And then he was very particular about what he wanted. And then as soon as Marlon got off the game, our friend Joe received that exact weapon that he wanted and then shot him a screenshot of it.
Many explicit words were said.
A lot of things we can't say on this show were said after that happened. It was very funny.
I'll just say this, so the listeners can listen to this. So after I got off from playing Destiny and busting my butt playing Iron Banner and dealing with all of that, so I decided, you know what, I'm done for the night. I'll go to the bathroom, shave, or just wash my face and stuff like that. And I get a message from him saying, hey, buddy, have a good night. And me realizing that this guy was sending me a message to just tell me, like, have a good night, feel better. I'm like, you know what? This guy really cares about me, you know? So I'm in the process of writing him, thank you, Joe, for you being a really good friend. The screenshot of his stupid spike grenades, rocket launcher, or grenade launcher sends to me. By this point, I just lose it, and I start telling profanities at him, and he starts laughing his head off. So
Literally,
His laugh is so heartwarming too. It's like a child's laugh.
it pisses me off even more about it, you know, like
So Marlon will be back on the hunt later this week to get that same weapon. That's what Marlon's obsessed with.
it's not fair, man. It's the
Ronaldo Machado, what are you obsessed with this week, my friend?
Just trying to get back into the groove of things, but obviously when I showed you guys earlier, I think I'm getting into these Funko Pop collecting things,
Please don't.
Oh gosh, man, you could really just get crazy with those. They have so many.
The thing is that I had some, but I ordered hard shell cases for like my prized possession ones. So
fancy ones, huh?
Right.
I've got probably. I think Isabel and I have maybe between the two of us like maybe 25, 30 of them.
Oh, nice.
So we've got a pretty good group of them. Some of them are bobbleheads, some of them aren't, but we've got a pretty good collection of them. You know, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Andrew, what are you obsessed with this week, my friend?
Completing The Witcher.
Nothing in particular, to be honest.
It's going to be The Witcher after this show.
Nah, actually, I'm gonna actually hop on Destiny for a little bit, believe it or not. But I guess I started watching this show on Netflix about. It's kind of like a competition show, but it's a glass blowing competition instead.
Oh, that
They
was
make
so
some
good.
they make some pretty neat stuff on there. So I'm about like halfway through the series on that one. Pretty cool.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but Isabel and I watched that, and that was actually a pretty cool show. I was pretty impressed with what they can do with that, and
Yeah.
just
So
amazing
fast,
what
right?
they can do with glass, man. That's just so wild. The one thing I just thought was so cool about that show is they have a challenge, and like the challenge like 4 hours long, and like literally they'll get to like 3 hours and 39 minutes, and then somebody will drop
Break something.
I
No.
Look,
and it's like,
the way
oh my god,
when that happened, I'll tell you something funny. When I saw that show, is that when that happened, it reminded me of another show called Forge and Fire, which is like the four guys forging a blade like in 3 hours.
oh, metalwork stuff.
Yeah, and the guy is literally like 30 minutes from finishing the thing. All he has to do now is just file it, and he looks at it. Oh my god, this thing is slightly bent. Maybe if I go to the machine right now, if I can just slightly tap it, I can finish this up. He goes in there, goes, breaks in half,
Oh gosh,
and he's like, "Well, I'm out of the competition." So I can imagine somebody like, like for me, when the whole glass blowing competition is, because they work so fast. I seen people that just make horses and Pegasus out of it like
yeah,
like
but
it's
this
nothing.
is so much. Yeah, this is nothing like that, man.
I think it's a lot more advanced.
This
than
is
Like,
insane.
that stuff.
just like
Yeah.
blow everything
I
out,
gotta
like, out of
check
the
out the
water.
show.
In
So-
in like the first like episode, they were making fun of somebody for making. They're
Yeah.
saying his art looked like a gift shop
I know,
glass
right?
piece, and it was
Yeah.
like dang. I thought it looked pretty cool too. I'm like, okay, so these guys are at a
putting
different level.
glass upon glass upon glass upon glass. That's the
Oh
crazy
man,
thing.
you should see some of the stuff that they do in that show. It is unbelievable. It's definitely worth checking out. I don't remember the name of the show though, but it's pretty obvious when you see it. It's all about glass working, and it's a glass working competition. It's so cool, so cool. So yeah, so my obsession of the week
Blown
has.
Away is the name of the show. Okay.
Ah, yes, you're correct. Blown away. Yeah, my obsession for the week has been this Anthem, getting back into the Cataclysm thing, man.
Nice.
It's got me back in the game. I've been playing a little bit more than I have been. Hopefully we'll start to see some more drops or some of the things carrying over from the PTS. So I've been excited about that. Definitely kind of like respawned a little bit my interest back into the game, which I felt honestly has been dwindling a little bit just because I feel like there's just not any new content. So it was nice to see that something happened. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the coming week because hopefully we'll see maybe an extension or additional stuff put into it later on this week as well, because all of this content started dropping late in the week last week. So it'd be really nice to see something spark up this weekend and something new be added to the game. So I'm really got my fingers and my toes crossed that that's going to happen, and we'll see what the future holds. So definitely exciting though.
I'll join you, KJ. I want to check it out too.
All right, bro. Well, maybe we'll set some time this weekend and fly around for a bit, kill some stuff, get you some new vinyls.
Yes,
for sure. So anybody have anything they want to add before we sail this ship for the evening?
All I can say is that if you're gonna increase your Funko Pop collection, Justin, don't go crazy, because people. I was looking at some of the lists for how many Funko Pops are there in 2019 as of right now.
It's like thousands.
Oh my
beyond
god.
thousands, I'm sure.
Like
Yeah, I'm
tens of
pretty sure
thousands.
of that too.
There's about
Yeah.
just on the movies like around 5,000 or something like that. I know that somebody's Funko collection of 750 plus of those things is getting onto the 20K range right
Well, I
now.
wouldn't doubt it.
So
Oh, easy.
so if you're
Julio's got a
gonna
sweet collection. If you want, if you check him out or call him or whatever, let him like, yo, take a picture of your case because you got some
He's got some
pretty
cool
wild
Funkos.
exclusives. Oh
also
yeah,
the Stanley Platinum Metallic Chrome Sign one goes in the market right now for $6,100. So
Oh my gosh,
there's
that's
that.
crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Wow. $6,000 Funko Pop. Not
The
for
whole
me.
the holographic Darth Maul is 2,130. So there's that.
yep. Yeah.
Amazing
It's
what
actually
some of those
funny.
things are
Kind of,
for.
you kind of sparked this little story, this quick story. One of my buddies from my coworker called me. He's like, "Hey, I'll be at Comic-Con on Friday." So I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "I've never been here." So I'm like, he's like, "Where are the comics?" And I'm like, "They're over there." So I took him to the comic section, and there's a display case with the glass, and they have all the editions of Spider-Man, or like all the original comics, right? So there's two comics of Spider-Man right there, and I could tell that they were the first, uh, the first of
Very
the
first
Spider-Man
Amazing
series.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two of them. One was signed by Stan Lee, and the other one was not. So my friend was curious, and he asked the guy. He's like, "Excuse me, how much is this?" And he's like, "Which one?" He's like, "That one." And he's like, "Or what's the difference between the two?" And the guy said, "That one that's signed by Stan Lee, that's an original one that they sent out to get recolored, or I guess they colored in
Fixed,
the
yeah.
color, yeah,
Yeah.
and they brought back." Cost $2.4 million.
Holy moly. Wow.
And then the other one, without the Stanley signature, the original print with no modifications to it whatsoever, went for $14.3 million.
Yeah. I knew the one that wasn't signed was going to be worth more because it doesn't, it's what is that?
Not contaminated.
Well, it's mint,
It's mint
Yeah, there you go.
condition.
Yeah, it was
condition,
mint.
you know.
It's mint condition within factory error that allows it to just be more desirable for collectors.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, I've gone to several of the Comic-Con events. We went to one in Philly, one in Kansas City, a couple others around the country, some stuff here in Orlando and Tampa and stuff like that. And I love going to all those things. It's totally like just a safe haven for nerds.
Yes.
We always seem to have a good time, and I truly do like cherish all of the times that like my daughter and I have bonded and gone and hung out and met some of the characters that we like to see on screen. I'll never forget the time we went and saw Stan Lee. We've met Haley Atwell, Chris Evans, tons of members of the Gotham cast, the cast from Walking Dead, and just all kind. I mean, I met some of the guys from the Comic Book Men, and I met
Nice.
Sulu from the original Star Trek. I mean, all kinds of neat characters and people at those events, and it's just awesome. It's such a good time. So
Yeah.
definitely, I wish I could go to San Diego Comic-Con with you. Maybe next year. We'll
Yes,
see if we can work it out.
please. It'd be so much fun.
That was
Yeah.
that.
At the
That's
end of
like the
at the end of
pinnacle of Comic-Cons,
yeah. At the end of my story right there, my idiot coworker friend was like, "Oh, you guys take cash or a check?"
Yeah, right.
Like, oh yeah, he has 14 million.
Screw that, man. 14
To be
million.
honest, I don't-
I'd sooner pay KJ to build me a house than spend that on a comic
on a
book.
Funko Pop, for crying out loud. Look,
The guy that I'm building that house right now, that huge, like, I think it's like $8 million house. He pays me in checks. He
okay.
goes in. I'm not kidding you. I had a $1.1 million change order for this guy at one point, and he stroked a check for it.
Well,
Nope.
are they
Check.
personal checks? Because the guy's
Person-
like, oh, we don't take the guy at the stand was like, we don't take personal checks. You have to
No,
go. It's
this
like,
guy. Yeah, no, it was a personal check, but
yeah,
we know that this guy is good for it.
yeah, of
He's
course.
very very well taken. Well, not well taken care of. He earned every bit of his money, but he has got a ton of money. He's really actually a really good guy, but very very wealthy. Pretty amazing house too. I'm looking forward to finishing this thing up. But that's all the time we have for today. So let's suit up and hit the high road. Strong alone, stronger together. Freelancers,
Roll
out.
Oh,
out.
follow.
There we go. That's a winner.